What is up, guys? McIntyre here, bringing you another solo queue tier list update. Tracer has now been introduced to the game, although it is a week in advance before she's actually out. I've had enough experience playing against her in Hero League that I think I have a good understanding of where she's at within the patch, and then there were a few changes. Um, that have happened to heroes from the last patch that I maybe didn't understand as much. And a few patches have gone through some nerfs, some buffs. And this is where I think the tier list is currently at for me in Hero League. Um, Again, this is a Hero League uh, tier list, so this is not a competitive tier list. Some of the choices that I have here are going to be a little weird. So just bear with me. Realize that this is for Hero League before I start. And this tier list is solely for discussion and to help you have a starting point when you're selecting heroes and champions. So take it as it is. But yeah, so we'll jump right into it. We're gonna start with tier ones. As always with the tier ones, our two favorite warriors, Murden and ETC. Both of these still just are too powerful. Just having the stuns, having the ability to escape, how to get a pick during a team fight. I just think that they are very, very powerful right now. The two new ones that we are kind of introduced to are Dehaka and Diablo. So I had Dehaka down at like tier 3 last when he first came out. But I think the more I've played him, the more I like him. He's actually really good at getting picks, which is very important in Hero League. And he's also really good at just, I don't know, winning a team fight if you land your abilities on, good targets. So I think he's come up for me. His global also is very punishing in Hero League. So I think that he is currently tier 1. And then Diablo is going to be the last tier 1. It's just he's a lot stronger in Hero League than in competitive, but I do think that he has a place. It's easy for your team to follow him up, and yeah, he can die and trade kills, which is really good. So going to assassins, these first two are very interchangeable. I think kind of like the Murden etc. I think Kael'thas gets a little bit of edge because of his wave clear, but Kael'thas and Li Ming both do insane amounts of damage, so they're both incredibly powerful for that reason. And I have them at the highest tier in tier 1. Following that is Thrall. I think that Sunder is impactful. The fact that he wins his lane is really good, and he can get picks with his wolf. So I just think he's a really strong hero. The next is going to be Illidan. Illidan, I think in competitive maybe a little bit better than Thrall, but in the Hero League he does have to have some sort of devotion from his team to him. So he gets weak because of that, but his ability to win lane, jungle, and win team fights if he can isolate the correct targets, I think brings him to the tier 1 spot. And then the last addition is Zeratul. This is a new one for me. This is obviously for me. You guys, if you maybe don't play Zeratul as much, should not follow this, but I think if you play Zeratul correctly, he can be tier 1, and he has the ability to be tier 1. So he's a low tier, he's the lowest tier 1, but I think he's still tier 1 with VP and his just early game power and his ability to get picks in the late game. I just think that he is a tier 1 hero. So moving on to specialist, I have now Sylvanas to the first spot in specialist for me. Just her ability to wave clear is really powerful, but her team fight is actually very good. Sorry about the alarms going off around me. But yeah, so her team fight is really good with her dagger and her silence. You can also punish people very easily with mind control if their support doesn't take cleanse. So it's like a special situation, but sometimes it's viable. Like I said, if the other team's support doesn't take cleanse, or if they take Brightwing, who doesn't normally have cleanse. So I have Sylvanas as the highest there, cause just the, like I said, wave clear, and she has pretty good team fight damage. Zagara is next up. Zagara, a winning laner, lots of vision on the map. Vision is important in Hero League because your team can't get caught if you can see the other team. So Zagara does well there. She can push really well as well. So, and then I have Zul. Zul is incredibly strong, but I think my problem with Zul, and the reason why he's not like the highest specialist, is his team fight is kind of awkward. And in Hero League, like, his positioning within a team fight sometimes isn't enough to win a team fight, and for that reason he is the lowest at tier 1, but he is the best at wave clearing and pushing on small maps, so that is why he still holds the tier 1 spot. Supports, for me it's still going to be Rhaegar as the best support. Just his AoE healing is really good. Ancestral can obviously win a team fight outright, and Slow Totem is pretty good when you want to pick. I mean, Rhaegar can also jungle, if you have to. He's one of the few supports that can. So, next up is Uther. For me, currently, I just think the meta is very heavy on CC. So, Cleanse and D-Shield are effective again. Also, just, the stun follow-up from Uther is very effective in Hero League for me. And if you go, I guess it's called Dance Dance Revolution, I don't know, Uther, or whatever people call it. If you take all the talents like Shrink Ray and Redemption and Cleanse and Proc Shield, he's got a lot of utility to his kit. So I really like Uther. And then Tassadar, again, going back to the vision with the Zagara, it's very effective because of his passive. He can play up for vision. You can keep your team out of, getting in a bad position because you can face check and find the other team. Shields are also really effective early game, and they enable a lot of these melee assassins. So I think Tassadar is tier 1. So moving to tier 2s, not a lot has changed on the tier 2s. The one new addition is Tracer. I think Tracer is tier 2. I do not think she's tier 1 because if the other team clicks on her, then she just gets damaged a lot. But she's very close to tier 1. If she is played correctly, I think she is very effective, but she's not just this super powerful being of a character. So the next is Falstad. He's also moved down to tier 2. With the 22nd addition to Gust, I think that Falstad is not near where he was. He's still incredibly strong, and his global is really good with the wave clear, but I just don't think that he's at where he was before with the 42nd Gust. So he's moved down just a single tier. Greymane, same goes for him. Now that they've nerfed Cocktail, I don't think that he is where he was. He's still incredibly strong. He can duel really well in Morgan form, but he just doesn't have what he had before with the Cocktail talents. So that poke and whatnot. Vol and Lunara are still tier 2. Just good range carries. No complaints. I guess I kind of just skipped all the warriors, but I'll go over them super quick. Tyrael, just Sank, is really good. He can get really good picks with his Q, Holy Ground at 16, and steal objectives. Stitches, a good hook, can always win a team fight. Bile's really good. He's got good self-sustain. He's chunky. He's got a lot of health. Chin, he wins lane. He's really good at laning. A good barrel in Hero League can just win a fight as well, so he's effective in that case. He also, a lot of times people don't deal with him, and if you don't deal with Chin, then he'll kill a lot of people. Joanna, wave clear, really good laner, hard to kill. Her passive keeps you alive, and she's easy, so a lot of people like Joanna, so I have Joanna there. I think that's probably the right place for her. Sonya is next up. Bruiser, she's really good as a second tank. You almost never want to play her solo tank, so that's why she's tier 2. Sometimes picking her isn't the right thing, and yeah, so Sonya's tier 2. Going to Specialist now, Asmodee is the newest addition for me. Since they changed the stacking to 1.5 seconds, I think Asmodee got stronger. It's so much easier for your team to help you stack now than it was before. You used to have to be kind of perfect, but now it's like there's lots of time for them to help you. So I think he's moved up. His global presence with his general at his passive is really good in the late game, and you're gonna get max stacks most of the time. people don't punish in Hero League and press advantages, so you can just stack, 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 and then eventually you'll hit a breaching point where your Qs start to hurt, and that's when you can turn a game with Asmodan. So I think he's tier 2 currently in Hero League right now. Arbiter's kind of the same way. He's going to keep the game kind of alive until about 13, 16 when he gets his push counts, and then he'll start splitting. And your clone can help, obviously, to win team fights if you have good clone targets. So he's good if you have good clone targets. Nazeebo is the next. I think he's just a solid specialist. He doesn't really have any error, and you can't really make mistakes with him. So I think for that reason, he's really good. I also really like Gargantuan against heavy melee teams. It's just hard for them to get past the Garg. So he puts out a lot of damage. He's easy to play, and I think for that, he gets a tier 2 spot. The supports now, Brightwing, I really used to like her a lot because of her poly and stuff, but not having cleanse really hurts, so she moved down a tier. She could potentially even be tier 3. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll move her to tier 3 right now, actually. I like her, but the more I think about it, I think that's where I wanted her to be at. She's still good, I think, but not having cleanse really hurts, and then she always has to group up to heal, and she has to get into melee range to heal, and against Li Mings and Kael'thas and stuff, that's not very good, so that's why I think I move her down. So let's look at the supports that I have now. Medic, it's really good in lower MMR, still kind of good in high MMR, but if the other team gets on you as Medic, you do die, so you need a heavy front line, but if you have that, then Medic I think is a really effective. Gets cleanse, has stim drone, a lot of good stuff going on there. Tyrande is another one. She's obviously a second healer, usually double heal with her, but if you decide to single heal her, you can just play really aggressive and just try to one-shot the other team. So if you have a really powerful team, that's okay, but for me in this list, she's a double support. Same goes for Lily. Lily is actually, to me, a double support now with Water Dragon, and I think it works really well if you pair it with Tassadar or Tyrande. Yeah, I actually like Lily. Again, the games are going to go long in Hero League most of the time, and she'll get to the point where if you get to 20 and you have Kung Fu, then she's actually really, really strong. So tier 3s, these are all niche. If you play them correctly, they can be good, but you might as well play another hero kind of subpar or get really good at playing them and win a lot more than playing these heroes and winning sometimes. The first one is Artanis. He got the buff on his charge. I think he's still good, but for Hero League's sake, he's not what you really want. A lot of times you'll take him and then your team won't take a tank, and then he's not really a good solo tank, so it's just an awkward situation. Leoric, he's kind of the same way. I think he's still really good with Entomb, but if you take him, your team will normally force you to solo tank, and he's weak. Same with Anub, same with Arthas. These are all tanks that are good, but they can't solo tank, and then, if you're taking them, why aren't you just taking something above? Yeah, so they're niche. That's kind of falls in for all of them. The Assassins, Jaina, her slow is good, sometimes her wave clear is good, but do you really want to be taking that right now? Raynor, he's just been nerfed. His shotgun got nerfed. I just don't like that hero at all. Cho'Gall, I don't really have much to say. Kerrigan, I mean, this is even a pick that I really, really like, but if the other team has cleanse or something, a lot of the time she's just not effective. And you'll Q in and miss your combo or hit your combo and it'll get cleansed and then you die. So yeah, it's just, she's kind of awkward. Specialist Vikings. Vikings obviously can be played very effective on certain maps, but this is not a map Hero League tier list. This is just a tier list in general. So a lot of the times Vikings weak pick. Murky, another one that's okay on certain maps, but still kind of weak on most. And same with Hammer. The thing with Hammer is you'll just get poked out by a lot of the damage dealers right now. So it's scary. And then the supports, Malfurion, I think I actually have him above Brightwing because he does get cleanse, and his root's really good, and Trank sometimes is really good against these heavy engage comps, because if you Trank and they don't kill something, then you win the fight. So I kind of like Malf where he's at. And then Brightwing, again, no cleanse just really hurts. Tier 4s, these are just heroes I just don't think they do anything well. Rexar, like, why play him when you can just play any other hero in the game? Just low numbers, low damage, hard to play, clunky. Yeah, not a good look. Assassin, Butcher. It's, yeah, fresh meat's fun and all, but you charge in and just get annihilated. So Tychus was actually good when the grenade change happened, but I don't think he's good anymore. And then Nova can be played really well, but if you go Snipe Master and stuff, like, you can play it really well. But yeah, it's like glass cannon-y. I don't know. And then Specialist Gazlo, I just still don't think Gazlo's a good hero. But that's kind of does it for my tier list. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in my YouTube comments below, or hit me up on Twitter and Twitch, which I'll have both of the links to those below my channel as well. So, but thank you guys again for support me through this. Hopefully you continue to enjoy these tier lists and you don't rip them apart as hard as you normally do, and you've learned something from this video about heroes and my thought process behind a lot of them. So with that said, I am out of here, guys, so cheers again, and hopefully I'll see you for the next patch. Alright, okay, bye-bye.